Yo, what up? It's the Snoop Deal Double G. My man JT Best Ball going live. Smash that like and sub if you aren't already. Now let's get in here and draft some fire teams.
What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well out there tonight. JT Best Ball, ready to take it home for you with the late shift. Tonight we're going to draft a pug. We got one left, and I don't know if it'll make it till tomorrow, so we're going to go ahead and do it tonight first, get it out the way. I like the 3-entry contests like that. I believe it's 1 of 5, 1 of 5. But first, Nico Collins. Let's talk about him. What's up, Mark? Good to see you in here like always. I've been thinking the last couple of days, and you know, part of the way I draft is I go off of ADP because you know where you can get guys, right? Like, you know, Nico's going to be right there at the 1-2 turn. But then as the summer goes on, there are times where I shift and I kind of like decide, you know, certain guys I maybe want a strong percentage of. And so then, of course, you got to take them a little early. And I think, for me personally, the more I think about it, Nico should be right there with Puka, probably above Neighbors. I think I like him as a player on this particular site, especially more than Genty. On most formats, and we're talking regular style tournaments, the pug, a regular puppy, BBM. The reason I say that is I was going back and I was looking at some numbers, and I was looking at the first 6 or 7 games last year when Diggs was healthy before he got hurt. Tank started a little slow coming off of his injury from the year before, but he was still out there. And Nico was like balling. I mean, if you look at go back and look at some of the stats. Give me 1 second, I'll flip over and show you what I'm talking about. Let's pull them up real quick. Just take me a second. Bear with me. Let's share this tab instead. Get ready with the latest Bad Birdie polos and Walter. I mean, last year it was right around. Better your best at Golf Galaxy. Well, Nico actually got hurt in the Buffalo game, and then it was like a game or two after that Diggs went out. But let's look at these first games. And of course, injuries can happen to anybody. The Buffalo game, he was only 2 of 78, but that's the game that he left with the tweaked hamstring. It was on like a 70-yard touchdown catch, 67-yard touchdown catch. I mean, before that, we had 15 targets, 12 receptions, 150 yards, and a touchdown. Kind of a dud against Minnesota, but it was early in the year. That game never was competitive from the word go. The Chicago game, 8 for 135 and a touchdown. Even the first week of the season, 6 for 117, didn't get any touchdowns. After he got hurt, whenever he came back here for the Dallas game, basically from the rest of the season on, we didn't have Diggs. Towards the end of the year, Tank got hurt, but let's face it, Tank was never really the same Tank from like the year before. I think he was definitely like slowed down. Woman talking in the background. You know what? I bet it was over here on ESPN. All right, never mind. Is it better now that I'm just back on here? Sorry about that. I guess I'll have to get into settings. I thought I had it set up to where it wouldn't play sounds from like whatever website I was on, but I guess that setting is not correctly set. The woman should be off though now, correct? I'm thinking that was one of those little ads on ESPN when I was showing the stats. But anyways, basically what I was saying is, you know, those first 5-6 games before Diggs got hurt, when the Texans had more receiving options, Nico was still hands down by far the dude. And I'm starting to think he could just have a massive year. Now, yeah, D'Amico, it is a little concerning. I think CJ may have had some kind of little, shoulder cleanup or something in the offseason that nobody really knew about. So I don't think it was anything major. The reason I say that is he hasn't thrown a pass yet in OTAs. It's OTAs. If he's not throwing passes in camp, that's when I'll be more worried about it. Right now, it's just OTAs. But I think Nico could be in store for a huge year because they brought in Kirk. They brought in 2 rookie receivers. I'm really high on Higgins. I think Noel is pretty good too, although I don't know how much he gets on the field with Kirk healthy. But that's just going to help so much because, Nico struggled late in the year when all we had was Mechie and Hutchins running around. And teams basically just like put a safety over the top of Nico almost every play, had a corner play him tight, and it was really tough for him to get much of anything. Basically double covered the whole game. I'm going to go get in this pug real quick. I'm not sure how these lobbies are feeling. I guess we don't get I thought you could pick between the 20-second and 30-second clock, but I guess now that it's getting close to field, they only give us one option. So whatever the option is, we'll see. Hopefully it can field because I really want to draft it. 11 people. I'm going to throw a heads up in my little group real quick. Give me just a second. Draft call out. On stream pug. Come join. Need 11. We'll keep it here a minute and see. So I really want to get this pug in. But basically, I think I'm going to start taking him. Not every time because then I would be totally out on Neighbors. And Neighbors is an amazing receiver too. But the more I think about it, like, is Russ really going to just be lighting it up this year? I mean, probably not. Like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is Neighbors. Quarterbacks do worry me a little bit. Yes, if Dart is good, then late in the year, Neighbors could be a good play and he could be going off. But like we know, or at least we think we know, I feel like I know CJ is good. And I feel like with those rookie receivers and with Kirk, it's just going to open things up so much more, like those first couple games last year when you had Diggs in there and you had Tank running around even though he wasn't himself. And then teams can't just sit over the top of Nico, doubling Nico the whole dang game. And it really opened things up a lot. And so I think he could be in for a good year. And like me personally, I kind of have him right there with Puka. That's what I was saying at the beginning. I think I'll kind of split those two. I think I'm going to start taking Nico over Neighbors some because I don't have that high a percentage of him right this second. And I want a lot higher percentage of him. Need 8 people still. If anybody has pugs left and you want to get in it, hop on in it. I should have started it before I started talking. I didn't think about that though. Hopefully it feels quick. If not, we might have to try to make it the second draft. And I don't want to sit here forever on stream waiting for you guys. What have you guys been drafting today? I got one in today. I did an eliminator. It turned out pretty good. I liked it. I guess while we're sitting here waiting, we can go look at it. Let me pull it up on a different one real quick. Completed. NFL. Not that. I drafted this one earlier today. Prescott, CJ, and Milrow. Y'all know I love tacking Milrow on anything. I probably shouldn't have did it in an eliminator, but it just got to the point in the draft where I didn't like anything better that was on the board. So we went ahead and threw him on there because I really think he's going to start the second half of the year after their Week 8 bye. Personally, Kyron, Cook, Jalen Warren, Mason, and Neal, Nico, and Neighbors on this one. I believe we were picking from the 12 hole. Yeah. Jennings, Ridley, Higgins, Slayton, Wilson. Then we went Ferguson, Frarmuth, and Likely as our tight end room. It's an eliminator team. I liked it. I think it turned out pretty decent. Should get some early season quarterback play out of those two. We got Stroud double stacked. We took Ferguson because we had Dak. I'm starting to be more open to stacking a little bit in the eliminators, I guess you could say. We might hop out of this pug, guys, because it is just not filling up. And we don't want to sit here forever. First time awake for a live. I'll watch till I pass out. Thank you, my man, for stopping in. Best Ball On Call streams also if y'all want to check his channel out. Do you have a set time, Best Ball On Call? I've been wanting to catch more of your stuff too, but I just had trouble catching it. I don't know exactly what times you normally stream. I did 2 eliminators today, both KC stacks. Yeah, I remember you showing me one of them. I thought it turned out pretty dang good. I don't know, guys. It's getting down to 6 people. We might give it another minute after all. I know what we can do. Let's look. I haven't even... let me see. Did we switch over? Yeah, we switched over to there. No, he's working 60 hours. I get him in when I can. I hear you, my man. Let's look at my eliminator exposure while we wait. I have not looked at it at all yet, to be totally honest with you. We have, let's see if it's up to date. We have 26 eliminator teams so far. We have CJ and Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young, followed by Justin Fields as our highest quarterbacks. I have a decent percentage of Milrow in the eliminator, and you would think he's not a good pick in the eliminator, but I still feel like, I was talking about it the other night, I feel like we are going to definitely have to beat a lot of good teams as we move on in this. And so there's certain builds, like when I get my Jack Lamar's, or if I have a Burrow, when I have like a elite QB, I don't put Milrow on those teams. But especially from that back end, you know, I would normally start with 2 position players, so a lot of times I'm ending up with like a Bo Nix and, you know, or a Murray and a Lawrence or something like that. And so teams like that, I'll put Milrow on there as a 3rd quarterback. I think some people, and hey, I could be wrong too, but I think some people, I mean, it could be, I'm not going to say it's a bad strategy. Let's stop there. Let's go through these first, then we'll talk about it more. Tank Bigsby, I need to slow down on Tank Bigsby. He's one that I've been rethinking my stance on because I'm starting to get way too much percentage of him because he is just an easy click. But I do think he'll be their gold line back. and especially early in the year in the eliminator, I like him. But now ETN is actually starting to get some pretty good coach talk. So maybe we need to slow down just a little bit. And then you guys know who the people are. I like you watch these drafts every night. Judkins, Shipley, Kenneth Walker we like a lot. The other room filled, so I'm going to go through it a little quicker. Michael Wilson, I think, is an excellent eliminator pick. I'm still drafting Keenan Allen. Tyreek Hill, I'm pretty high on. Let's look at our tight end room. Fryermuth, Ferguson, Jatavion, all those guys late that I like to just put as a part of a 2 or 3 tight end room, just depending on which way I go. Kittle and Hockenson, we like both of them. We've been getting a little more open to Bowers. I'm up to 15% of him on the eliminator. We're in the draft. We got our pug to fill. We found something to kill a little time with. I do not recognize any of the names. But if you're in here, let me know. We will shout you out. Jamar, JJ, Barkley, Lamb. And see, I think I'm glad they went Puka there, because y'all know I love me some Bijan too. I'll take a Bijan at 6 all day long. So, with me wanting to kind of bump Nico up, like I think I'm taking him over Almon. But that also will allow me to bump McCaffrey up a little bit, because like y'all know me, I'm not an 8% guy. I definitely don't draft with I'm going to have 8 or 9%, what they call right at the field of everybody. I'm more of a I get big percentages of the players that I think are going to have the best seasons in each round. Hopefully one of the lineups come out right. And if I'm wrong about a lot of guys, it'll hurt me. If I'm right about a lot of guys, we have a really good year. That's the way I like to play the game. But I think, for me, it's going to be kind of Nico most of the time over Neighbors, most of the time over Amon. I still don't know how I feel about Genty and McCaffrey. I liked McCaffrey a lot better when he was right there. But it was no sooner than I switched over to underdog is when he started moving up into the first. I don't really see him getting in front of Gibbs and Bijan. So myself, I'm kind of waiting until we get into camp to really take him a lot. Or at least, because OTAs, anybody can be out there running around. But when the real camp starts, I want to see for myself that he's actually out there and looking good and all that good stuff. Kyle Shanahan really burned us last year. This is a pug. Not quite sure what I want to do with this pick. The board is telling me, dang, I really kind of wanted Achane there. The board is telling me running back. I'm not super high on Brown this year. They really like to run the ball, and the defense didn't really get much worse. We're going to go JT. We are not afraid to start running back. I talked about it a couple nights ago when we were drafting a super flex team. I think that there's a little bit too much of a disparity between how we're valuing running backs in regular formats versus how we're valuing them in super flex. I know. We only got to draft 2 receivers. That makes the running backs more valuable. Because we only have to draft 2 receivers, and because people are making sure they have 4 at least 3 really good running backs. Some people 4 really good running backs. That makes the receivers push down even further because we only need 2 of them. And there's more good receivers in general than running backs. But I personally feel that the gap between how we draft them on here and how we draft them in a super flex is a little bigger than what it should be. And just me personally, I feel like where we're wrong isn't super flex. I feel like where we're wrong is probably the regular format. You know, we got burned last year by fading some really good running backs, and that pushed guys up the board. But did it really push guys up the board? And so what I mean by that is, yeah, Barkley went to the very front of the draft. I'm willing to fade him because it took literally about as great of a season as he could have. And unless he starts catching a whole lot more passes, he can't really have a better season. So the chances of him repeating that versus the chances of him having a not as great of season, I feel like the chances are better that his season isn't as strong as last year. So I'm still willing to pass on him more times than not. We don't want to get too far behind wide receiver. Jaden goes at 42. We're going to try to do something. Generally, I would take Tyreek here. We're going to take McLaurin and see if we can't get Daniels to come back to us. Lamar and Allen are both still on the board. Jaden's ADP would fall right about where our pick is at. So we're going to see if we can't get him to come back to us. But what I mean by that is we'll look at the board as we start getting into more of these running backs. Like, you know, Kyron. Kyron was Kyron last year. Had a really good year. And we're drafting him at the 2-3 turn along with Jacobs. Both of those guys had super strong years last year. But yet we still take A.J. Brown ahead of him. It gets even worse, in my opinion, a little bit further back. You know, one guy is Mixon. Yeah, I know that he's older or whatever. He had a really pretty solid year for the Texans if you look at him on a per-game basis because he missed 3 or 4 games, something like that. And if you look at his numbers on a per-game basis, he was really good. Doesn't catch a ton of passes, but catches some. Fast forward to this year, their defense got even better. They got more weapons in the receiving game, which should open up things for the running game. He doesn't really have any new competition. It's still just Dameon Pierce and the rookie that they drafted, Marks, who was thought of, at least, you know, in all of his pre-draft stuff, scouting and stuff like that, he's kind of thought of more as like a, you know, passing down guy, third down type back. And so I just think that although we push some running backs up more, I still don't think that we're really valuing them as much as we should, especially some of the guys that go like in the 4th and 5th rounds. There goes Lamar. We'll see if Jaden can make it a couple more picks. Cook scored what? 16 touchdowns last year. And he's going at pick 41. We're taking guys like Devontae Smith, who is still always going to be behind A.J. Brown, on a team where we're taking Barkley 3rd overall, and they love to run the ball. And when they do throw the ball, A.J. Brown's going to be the top target. And yet we're taking Devontae Smith over Breece Hall. Yeah, he had a little down year last year, so I guess he didn't show it. But in Cook's case, What more do you want from the guy? He plays on an amazing offense. He catches a little bit of passes. He's explosive. They showed last year they're finally willing to use him on the goal line. He scored 16 touchdowns. And look at that. We got Jaden to come back. I'll take it for a pug. It's a 3 entry, 3 max. So it'll be nice to have a little Bijan Taylor with a Jaden and McLaurin. I got something for y'all. This is what I feel so far about that start.
Nailed it. Nailed it. Nailed.
Something new I've been playing with. We nailed the start. 2 elite running backs and a Jaden McLaurin stack. Let's go. See, yeah, we can't finish off this plug. But anyways, that's my running back rant today. You know, there he is, Joe Mixon. You know, we're taking us, in my opinion, the best spike week guy, but still a spike week guy, J-Mo, over Mixon. Devontae, I already talked about it. We're taking him over Breece Hall. No one still wants to draft Cook. Guy scored 16 touchdowns. I think we're still undervaluing running backs a little bit in the regular style format. And so I've been building a lot of hero RB teams, but then I still get backs in this range of, you know, Chuba and Walker and Connor. I've been ending up with teams with a lot of 3 running backs that I like. And I still feel like I get good enough receivers and end up feeling really dang good about the team overall. We only got 1 receiver. But we're going to push it a little more because we really like Kittle this year. And we can wait a while for running back because we got our 2 studs. We may grab one more if the right guy is hanging around on the board, a guy we really, really like. But I feel like you can get some good receivers still, you know, in this little range we have coming up. Definitely going to be a team where I probably stick with 2 quarterbacks since we have Jaden. Since we have Kittle, possibly 2 tight ends, we'll see. Because I'm going to have to make up some receiver, definitely with volume on this team. As I did start running back. And I did make then a detour for Daniels and Kittle. But I think, just barring any running back, it definitely won't pick another quarterback or tight end for a little bit. And barring any running back just being past ADP that I really like, probably at least the next 3 picks will be receiver. It's kind of how I envision it going. And I think that'll help us catch up. No, I'm not really in on Debo this year. I mean, if he falls and he's there past ADP, I guess I might try to get Ertz later or something. You know, Jaden can get it done with his legs. I've taken Jaden most of the times when I've taken Jaden, I've taken him without McLaurin. I don't know if I have a Jaden McLaurin team because I don't take McLaurin that often and he goes ahead of him. I was kind of hoping Roma Ridley would come back around as a wide receiver too, but they didn't. But that's all right. There'll be some good ones out there still. Waddle, if he comes back, We could take Jennings and then try to get Purdy as our second quarterback. I'd feel okay with a Daniels Purdy team, especially if I had Purdy doubled. Olave's there. He's the number one on his team. He's healthy now. Hopefully he doesn't end up having concussion issues again this year, but he's healthy now. We'll get us some receivers. I think I am going to do that. I think we're going to go Jennings first. Because then here a little bit later in the draft, too, around pick 100 or something like that. Yeah, 108. How will that fall with us? We might have to take him a little early right there at 102. Or, y'all know what I like to do, depending on what other quarterbacks are on the board, we have both Kittle and Purdy, depending on whoever takes. Because I think Ayuk is still going a little bit ahead of him. Where's Ayuk going? Yeah, 82. Pearsall should be right in here somewhere too. Or actually, Pearsall's better just went 68. So we'll have to keep an eye on those guys. We'll have to keep an eye on the Pearsall drafter if we want to get Purdy. Which, if we have Kittle and Jennings, if he doesn't take him there, we could go ahead and take him in the 9th round. We'll see how it works out. Does the Pearsall drafter have any other stacks he could be setting up? He could be setting up Bo Nix. He also could take Stafford. He took Puka all the way up at 5. And he has Laporta. So he has some other QBs that he could potentially have in mind. With this pick, we're still going to stay in the wide receiver room, though. We need to start catching up still there. I would love it if Golden falls. If Golden doesn't come to me, we'll probably take Shakir. He's Allen's number one, I feel like. But I do like Golden also. So either one of those, we're going to get one of them. There goes Bo Nix. We'll take Golden. I think he has more potential for just big spike week games. Whenever I have a team that I built like this where I took, we call them detours, but where I took a couple running backs, a tight end, a quarterback, and so I got behind at receiver, I already know that I'm going to be attacking wide receiver with volume. And rather than taking a guy who I feel like is a really strong floor play in Shakir, earlier I would rather take a guy like Golden who, okay, he might not give me usable weeks every week, but he might also have some pretty massive spike weeks. And there's guys that I feel like at the end of the draft, two of my eliminator favorites, Michael Wilson and Slayton, I feel like those guys are, for where they go in the draft, those guys are good floor guys on a team where you're going to have to attack wide receiver with volume. And you're going to have, say, 9 receivers or something like that, 8 or 9 receivers. You could tack 1 or 2 of those guys on near the end, and they'll give you some pretty decent floor. We'll probably do one more after this. Not sure what we'll do. This is my last pug. I already had drafted 2 of them. Maybe either an eliminator or a super flex. One of the two. People still willing to give Cooper Kupp a chance. All right, let's see what we want to do here. There's still plenty of quarterbacks on the board, so we don't need to do that. I don't love any of the running backs. We're going to get Pittman. Pittman was hurt a lot last year. I do worry about Anthony Richardson. Maybe he could be a late season smash for us, because if Richardson doesn't make it the whole year, which, let's face it, I think Richardson will start unless he's just really bad in camp. But if whenever Daniel Jones gets in, the one thing he's always been pretty decent at is short, middle accuracy, stuff like that. Just kind of Pittman's game. I think that's what the coach wants to do, is run the ball, control the ball, short ball control type passes. We had JT on the team, so from a team stack or a team correlation, it made sense. We thought about taking Burden because we have Kittle, so that would have given us a little week 17 with that. We have Kittle and Jennings, so from that standpoint, Burden would have made sense. But there's just a lot of mouths to feed in Chicago. And when I only had 3 other receivers at the time, I didn't really think that this was the type of team that I wanted to do that with. I liked Pittman better for this build. We like how it's going so far, though. Let's see what we're working with. Just Jaden at QB. 1, 2, 4, 1 is what we're sitting at. Bijan and Taylor. We got our 2 studs with the first 2 picks and didn't go back to running back yet. McLaurin, Jennings, Golden, Pittman, Kittle at tight end. There's a chance. That's another reason that I took Pittman. I probably... Where's the Ayuk drafter at? Ayuk drafter does not have a quarterback either. He also took down, so he could potentially... I think I want to try to push Purdy. We don't have to have Purdy. And Burden hung around, and I didn't like Burden at the last spot. But since he came back around, it kind of worked out. We got the Pittman with the last pick at receiver that we wanted. He's still their number 1 if he's healthy, and he correlated with JT. And then we got Burden to come back around to us a little past ADP for the week 17 stack, since we had Jennings and Kittle. Now what'll make it really nice is if this Ayuk drafter right here doesn't take Purdy on either one of his. Fields is still out there, so he could always go Fields. Fields is just a guy you don't even really need a stack with. He took Purdy. So that's all right. We don't mind having Jennings and Kittle without Purdy on a Jaden team. We're okay. It's fine. To me, Burden helped this team with that pick, even if it risked missing out on Purdy more than taking Purdy did. Because we're still trying to catch up at receiver. And after we took Terry and then made the detour for Daniels and Kittle, we just been trying to stack them with Jennings and Golden and Pittman and Burden. So we're catching up a little bit. I doubt Fields makes it back. If for some reason Fields makes it back, we could go with him as a second QB. If not, we can wait. I can wait on tight end with Kittle. I think the play for me coming back, if he hangs around for some reason, which I'm thinking one of these four people probably take Fields. He doesn't normally fall past ADP like he is now. If he does, that'll be great. We like Shaheed. He might be an option for us. Or somewhat soon, we need to start grabbing some of these running backs too. Get back in the running back room. Travis Etienne got some really big coach speak today. Or no, I think it was actually a couple of days ago. The new coaches seem to not be totally out on him. At least that's what they're saying now. It is just coach speak. In OTAs, which you always got to kind of be leery of. Maybe we could do something with him, though. Fields might make it to us. Probably this guy will pick him. Oh, he didn't pick him. What do you know? Look at that. So I think we probably got to go ahead and take Fields here. That's what we want to do. Got him past ADP. Almost, actually 12 picks past ADP. That doesn't happen too much with Fields. I believe Mr. Pete Overzat says that is value hounding. So we will get our value hound on with the Justin Fields pick. I'm really liking this team. It's a pug. It's a 3-entry contest. 1 of 5 as he advances in the playoffs. Jaden Daniels, Justin Fields, Bijan and Taylor at running back. We got to start hitting the running backs back up with some late round guys. McLaurin, Jennings, Golden, Pittman, Burton. Caught back up a little bit there. Kittle. We'll probably wait and just tack on 2 tight ends, maybe like with the last round. I'm probably going to push it and just go Daniels and Fields as my 2 quarterbacks, because that will allow me some extra picks to start getting these running backs, which we do need some of. I don't love Ramondre, but if he hangs around, we may take him just because he's the only running back at this point left who is, at least going into the season, still probably the starter. And we feel like we could get some late season upside out of the other guys. Although I also like Christian Kirk. I think I'm going to go with the receiver. I think Kirk could have a pretty dang good year with us this year. That gives us one more. Now it doesn't look so bad. You know, we made up with 6 of them, and before it got to just, you know, dart throws or the gross. I call them gross, but they're my eliminator picks, like Slayton and Wilson type players. McLaurin, Jennings, Golden, Pittman, Burton, Kirk. That's not a horrible receiving room when you consider we made detours for Kittle, started with Bijan and JT, and have Daniels as our number 1 quarterback. I don't know. You guys tell me, but I'm kind of really liking it. I'm liking what we're doing here. We got Zach Ertz coming up a few rounds. We'll keep an eye on him. He might be a nice little tight end too to go with Jaden. I feel like with this next 2 picks, we almost have to go running back just to start getting some more bodies in the room. But I feel like that's what you should do, you know, if you have a team where you make this many detours early, started running back, took Jaden, took Kittle, you can do it. You can build really good teams like that still. You just got to make sure that, you know, you'll see some people do starts like I did, and then they'll take they'll take a Swift here, you know, or whatever, or they'll take a Judkins here. It's all about, you know, buckets and positional capital that you spend. You know, if you take 2 running backs with your first 2 picks, maybe you don't have to wait quite as long as I did if you also didn't take an early quarterback and a somewhat early tight end. But I'm really liking the way I did it. You know, I attacked receiver to catch up some with volume. We took advantage of the Fields slide. Fields doesn't normally slide into the 10th round like that, especially mid-10th. So we grabbed him for a QB2 that has, you know, some ceiling weeks within him with his rushing. We're going to try to grab us some running backs with this pick, probably the next pick too. Ray Davis is our favorite of this group, and he held in there for us. He's attached to a really good offense. Talked about it, I think, yesterday or the day before. You know, there was one particular game last year where he was pretty much the dude, and he looked pretty dang good. They gave him a lot of work that game to kind of, I think, see how he could handle it, and he handled it. I'm okay with him as my running back 3 whenever my first 2 are, you know, true elite studs like that. We'll see how the rest of these last few rounds play out. Hey, Megs, thanks for stopping in. If you guys don't know about Fanspeak Network, they got some good stuff going on over there. Every Wednesday night tonight, they had the 2 Tylers on there earlier for their Best Ball Jeopardy. Those shows are hilarious. We thought Tyler was going to rage quit there for a minute. PPR Tyler. I didn't get to watch a lot of it because I was also getting my girls ready for bed and stuff like that. But I caught some of it. I'll go back and watch the rest of it. Definitely good stuff you guys are doing over there. All right, let's see what we got. We don't need quarterback. We can just forget about that. We probably still want to get another running back here. We could go Garindo since we got so much San Francisco already. That would kind of correlate. We can wait another round or so for Ertz. Probably get away with waiting a little bit for those guys too, although I don't really like him. It's a Bijan team, so we don't really want to go out here. Because I have Bijan, I don't want to go Algier. I'm going to take Leggett. I probably should go running back, but we're going to keep pushing it. You know, we draft our teams like we're right, and if Bijan and JT are healthy, they're going to pretty much be our running backs most every week. They have pretty dang safe floors with, of course, blow-up week potential. I'm not saying we're stopping at 3 running backs, but I just felt that adding another one of my, I've talked about it before, Leggett is one of my favorite clicks where he goes in the draft, me personally, because I think in that offense this year, with Tet also there, he could give you some really, really good spike weeks. I don't think he'll be a guy that is going to be hitting your lineup consistently week in and week out, but I definitely think he's the type of guy that when he hits your lineup, it might be with a 6 for 85 and a touchdown and look pretty nice, or, you know, maybe even more than that. Their defense isn't good. They're going to have to either A, be in shootouts, or B, be playing from behind. And I keep getting left in this spot. Like coming up, I probably would want Ertz since I do have Jaden. But then that means we have to push off running back one more round. We could go with Marshawn Lloyd. We have Golden. But I think if Ertz is there, I will go ahead and take him. That would give me a Kittle and Ertz tight end room. If Ertz is not there, then we could go Braylon, maybe Rico. We're going to finish this one off nicely, I think. I think I'm going to really like this team when it's all said and done. I got one little trick up my sleeve to also help us out, maybe potentially in the running back room. 2-3-7-2 right now is what we're sitting with. Jaden and Fields, our QB room is done. We're going to keep it at just those two. Bijan, Taylor, and only Ray Davis in the RB room, but Bijan and JT will definitely hold it down for us. Scary Terry, Jennings, Golden, Michael Pittman, Luther Burden, Christian Kirk, and Leggett at receiver. Considering how late we waited after we took McLaurin to get our second receiver, I think we caught up pretty dang nicely. All of those guys are guys that on a given week can have a really good week and hit our lineup, I feel like. Kittle and Ertz in the tight end room. That's a nice little combination. I think Ertz kind of gives us a nice little floor. Kittle could have some massive weeks and also has a pretty decent floor. This pick has to be running back coming up. It doesn't matter what value's on the board still. We're not taking more than one more receiver at the most probably with this team. One more tight end. Let's think about it. We got 4 picks left. If we do one more tight end and one more receiver, that puts us at just 5 total running backs. Depending on who they are, we can get away with 5 total running backs. I was debating about taking Braylon Allen over Ertz with the last pick, and we actually got Braden Allen to come back to us. So for that, we will give it another value hounding it up tonight, boys. I think I can talk about it because there's doesn't seem to be anybody watching the stream who's also in our draft tonight. I was about to say, if Will Shipley could come back around to us too, that would have just made my night with this team because I'm really liking it. I don't know. I feel really good about it. There's still some other options out there, though. We'll see what comes back to us. Mark, are you at home or are you working? You drafting tonight? You want to get in a super flex after this? How'd everybody else start? Was there anything crazy? We didn't even really look at the beginning. The one hole went Chase and got Burrow at 5. JJ, we had that one guy who took Puka at the 5 hole. Then he went Bucky and Brown, Sutton and Harvey, Pearsall and Nix. Everybody doing some pretty normal stuff. Let's see what the 12 hole did because he started 5 wide receivers start. Then he went Montgomery and Robinson. Then he got Hawkinson and Harris and then Najee and then Trevor Lawrence and Penix at quarterback. Is about to be our pick. So I haven't really taken him at all this year because I didn't really know where he would go. And we've been kind of out on RJ Harvey this year. And if you haven't heard, the Denver Broncos are taking J.K. Dobbins out to dinner. Either tonight, tomorrow night, something like that. They have a really good offensive line. Their offensive line may be one of the best. And Dobbins, if he's healthy like last year, he looked way better than I thought he would last year. So we're going to take him because we're just trying to piece our running back room together. He clearly wants to play football. If he doesn't go to Denver, he goes somewhere. And I think it's pretty safe that he does not go to Atlanta, Indy, Buffalo, or New York. I don't see any 4 of those teams being in the need for a running back. So I think Dobbins was a pretty safe pick as far as not having to worry about him being paired with another running back on my team, and now they're both on the same team. That gives us 5. We have 2 picks left. Definitely probably want one more tight end at some point, either this next round or the last round. And then I don't know, we could do a wide receiver. I need to probably honestly slow down a little bit on Keenan Allen until we hear something about he's actually going to play football. So far in May, well, I don't even have to be tempted now because he just went. But so far in May, I've been taking a lot of Keenan Allen because he's really good at football, and I feel like there's no other receivers that go anywhere near him in this back part of the draft who I feel like will come close to what Keenan Allen will do no matter where he signs, if he signs. He was in a pretty crowded room with DJ Moore in Rome last year in the games that Keenan was healthy. You could say he was their number 1. I mean, he definitely, Moore had a couple, really good games, but Keenan also had his fair share of really good games last year. If this guy that's on the clock doesn't take him, we're going to go Lloyd for a 6th running back. I think I like him better than the receivers that are here. Or we could go Wicks. There you go. They made that easy. They took Lloyd. So we'll probably keep it at 5 running backs. We said we needed 8 receivers. I kind of like that better, honestly, because either way we would have had 2 Green Bay players, but now we have 2 of the Green Bay pass catchers. Kind of ping pong which weeks they spike. I still think, I don't know, we loved Wicks last year. We were pushing him up way higher than what he should have been last year. I know there's a lot more competition there now. Golden's there. Watson's probably not playing this year, though. If he does, it'll be maybe if they make the playoffs or something. And we could always still tack on one more running back if we decided to do that over tight end. But the last round generally has some pretty decent tight end plays. When possible, I try to save my 18th round pick for a tight end because I do kind of feel like they are the best value. Mark says he's down for a super flex, so we'll do that next. We'll do a 20-second one. Run through it pretty quick. I got a long day tomorrow, and it's going to be a long stream tomorrow altogether because we're going on Fantasy Football Garage at 8:30 tomorrow night, my time. I'm thinking we're going to do 2 drafts on his channel. I think I got to confirm. I'm going to hop on mine probably for one late night draft. I'm imagining it'll probably be like 11 or 11:30, something like that, my time. So later than what we normally start. But whenever we get done over there, I'll see what pace we're going at, and I'll try to at least announce my stream, an hour before or something like that. And we'll hop on and draft something real quick tomorrow night. I want to try to stick to my Monday through Fridays going live. Unless I just absolutely can't. But tomorrow we should be able to make it work. We're going to grab us a tight end here. I really like Arroyo, and I think he fits this room really nice. We have Kittle. You know what you're getting with Kittle. We have Zach Ertz. He's paired with Daniels. If anything, Zach Ertz may fade later in the year. I mean, at some point age might catch up with them. But if so, that's when hopefully the rookie can kind of be starting to get it going for us. I really like this team. Let's look it over. So we kept the 2 quarterbacks, kept it at a 2-5-8-3. Daniels and Fields. The running back room ended up Bijan Taylor, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, and J.K. Dobbins, who might be a Denver Bronco here pretty soon, it sounds like. Wide receiver room, McLaurin, Jennings, Golden, Pittman, Burden, Kirk, and Leggett, and Wicks. Tight end room of Kittle, Ertz, and Arroyo. I really like this room. I really like the room. Has the draft already started, Mark? This is what we think about this draft.
Nailed it.
We think we nailed it. Oh, we probably wouldn't have been able to get in anyways. Oh well. Have fun with your super flex. I think I'm going to hop over real quick then because there's a few less rounds. I think I'm going to draft an eliminator real quick before we call it a night. I'll do a 20-second eliminator. Hopefully it 11 people. Hopefully it feels pretty quick. Oh, there we go. Already got to 9. Tell me what you think about this music. We've been playing with some stuff too. I think I kind of like this one about as much as I like the Ducks, if not better. They're both pretty good. I like the Ducks too. We'll switch it up tonight. Still needing 9 for this. Alright, let's see what the Superflex is, I guess. You can always count on a 20-second Superflex to almost insta-fill. Let's see. It is getting a little late, though. Maybe there's less people on. Need 6 for it. Need 5 for it. They're still coming in. Need 4 for it. It'll fill pretty quick. Let's talk Superflex strategy while we wait for it to fill. I see a lot of people, and again, we don't know who's right, we don't know who's wrong. That is going to be the beauty of seeing how the season plays out. But me personally, I think I've kind of settled on the way that I like building the teams the best. And I'm tending to not be one of the guys that push quarterback too far, and then you got to kind of take like a bunch of the backups, or I even see some people will have like 2 for sure starting quarterbacks, and then they'll take 2, sometimes 3 of the just total backup quarterbacks. We're picking from the 6 hole, and while, I get their strategy, but especially the way receivers do fall kind of late in here, I found that I really like my teams the best when it's either 2 quarterbacks that I can count on, and then if I can't get a third, or the way the draft worked out, there was other people I liked better than a third quarterback. That's the teams that I try to get a Milrow, or then I'll play the backup quarterback game with maybe one of my quarterbacks. But I also have a decent amount of these so far where I ended up with 3 good quarterbacks that you can count on, and then I'm just done. I'm done with those 3. I don't draft another quarterback. I don't get into the backup quarterback game. And instead, when guys are taking the backup quarterbacks, I'm still getting more of the good receivers that are on the board. I don't know. Personally, that's the way that lately, when I say lately, the last few days, so I've drafted at least 1 or 2 of these most days since it came out, and I just think I like my teams the best that way. Often here from the 6 hole, I pass on Burrow if he is there, but he was gone anyways. We're going to take Jamar Chase. Nothing wrong with starting your team with Jamar Chase. We'll see what comes around. We'll see how quarterback thirsty everybody is. It seems to be this middle spot where a lot of times I do end up with like the 2 quarterbacks that I feel like I'm somewhat count on, and then I get like a Milrow. I'll reach for Milrow in this ahead of his ADP sometimes just to make sure I get him. Because I feel like, especially in this particular tournament, if I am right about what I've been saying all along about Darnold and Milrow getting decent play, and not just at the very, very end of the year, then I think a team like that where you take like we'll see how it works out, but where you have really good position players and two QBs who can help get you to that point. Because if your running back and receiver room strong enough, you can start those guys in the super flex spot also. Probably should go quarterback here. But we're going to go Puka because we like Puka a lot. And Jamar Chase and Puka is a really fun start. Really fun start. We'll see. We'll see if I can still snag at least 1-2 quarterbacks. We don't need to draft another receiver for a while. We can chill for a while at receiver and just take some more later in the draft. That'll help us catch up at running back. A lot of the guys in the first 4 spots are starting to double tap or starting to get 2 QBs, so that is going to make them a little thin. The guys on the back end, though, a lot of them didn't. So there's still guys there. We'll definitely grab one of them here. These two guys both have 2 QBs, so it'll be nice if they do not take one. Yeah, he goes running back. It'll be nice if the 4 hole doesn't go with another quarterback, which he did not. So then, yeah, that sets it up nice. We're going to get us. And then he went Nico there. Let's get Drake May. Drake May runs a little bit. Diggs will be around pretty late, possibly as a third receiver we could throw on there. I like a guy like Drake May. Their team's not going to be overall super strong this year, so there will be games where they're playing from behind and having to throw the ball. And it's kind of working out because there's a few people on this back end who are really trying to push and stretch QB also. So I do believe there's a decent chance that we get like a Bryce Young or a Michael Penix here on the way back. It's going to depend what the 7 and the 6, the 7 and the 8 hole do. They both all 3 of the 7, 8, and 9 hole only have 1 quarterback. There goes McCarthy. We'd be okay taking Bryce, but CJ held in there for us, so we're going to take CJ. You know, that worked out. We started with Chase and Puka, so we got our 2 elite receivers. Just so worked out that we got Drake and CJ out of the deal still. So we have 2 quarterbacks that we can count on. A lot of these guys, this guy, the 1 hole has 3, the 2 hole has 2. 3 hole now has 3 with Bryce Young. So we may even be able to do like we talk about, where we just like getting 3 quarterbacks that we know are going to be starters for their team, be done with it. The whole rest of the draft we can just hit up running backs, receivers, all those skill position. I would love it if Stafford came back to us, because I feel like he's a nice quarterback with a nice floor and still could give you some potential spike weeks. I also like Geno. Geno runs a little bit more than what people think he does. But we definitely should get a starting quarterback here. Geno doesn't run. I mean, Stafford doesn't run any, though, and I do feel like there is still a little bit of injury risk. So we did go ahead and take Geno instead. QB room, Drake May, CJ Stroud, Geno Smith. They all have different bye weeks, so we will be done at QB. Now when it gets back around to us, we can start focusing on trying to catch up with running back. And then we'll get our wide receivers 3 and 4 and a tight end when everybody else is drafting the backup quarterbacks. That's how I've been liking to play these, and I've been really liking my teams for the most part. It's definitely been my favorite teams, I think, in Superflex. When they're kind of like this, when I have maybe a running back start, or wide receiver, 2 position players start, and then I'm able to, with the next 3 picks, still snag 3 starting quarterbacks that I like. And then after that, we just start filling out the rest of the positions. Like, I'm going to get one of my favorite running backs as our first. We'll take Ken Walker. Y'all know how high I am on him. Talked about all the 2023 film I watched in preparation for this best ball season. We have some guys later in the draft with this particular team too that we can probably try to stack. Diggs goes pretty late in this format. Jaden Higgins. Probably grab us another running back here. We need to catch up at running back, as we did take the 2 stud receivers to start our draft. Then we hit quarterback up for a while to catch up and get our 3 starting quarterbacks. Now we're going to use a few picks to try to start building out our RB room. And I feel like it's coming together pretty nicely. We're going to go Judkins. He's another one of the running backs I'm pretty high on this year. Stefanski, the Browns coach, always has had a pretty good run scheme. I mean, look, he was making Jerome Ford and company look halfway decent last year. I think Judkins is a pretty dang good back myself. I really liked him as a prospect. I think he can probably catch better than a lot of people are giving him credit for, even. Just the role that he played at Ohio State, that wasn't really his role. Henderson was the passing down guy. Talked about it before. That's kind of Cleveland's only real strategy that makes sense this year. Play good defense, run the ball, try to control the game that way. We're liking it, though. We're liking it. $20 super flex. Probably, depending on who's there or not there, go running back one more time here. And I think we want to go Aaron Jones. The first part of the year I was taking Pollard right there ahead of Aaron Jones, but the more I think about it, I think Minnesota will be a better team than Tennessee. The coach speak coming out of Tennessee right now is they do want to get Spears more involved this year than what he was last year. I think that kind of opens us up a little bit too. We have 3 running backs now. Walker, Judkins, and Aaron Jones. Jamar Chase and Puka at wide receiver. We have our 3 quarterbacks, Drake, May, Stroud, and Geno. Probably just going to stick with that. There's a couple backup quarterbacks that I wouldn't hate throwing on this team. One of the guy I've been drafting a lot at the very end of the draft is Mariota. You know, with the style of game that Jaden plays, it is not totally out of the possibility that Jaden gets hurt. We're going to get a run away from running back for a second. I like Hawkinson over Laporta myself. And it makes sense from the standpoint that we just took Aaron Jones also. Y'all know how I am about my team stacks. Always be stacking. Got to get your stacks. I feel like the more team correlation, the better. I keep the week 17 stuff in mind. I am not a religious week 17 guy myself. When a week 17 bring back fits within the structure of what I'm trying to build with that particular team, then sure, I'm all for it. But I don't really go out of my way to make it happen. Whereas I do with team correlation. I want as much team correlation. My ideal team would have, in a super flex, would have 3 quarterbacks with them all stacked a little bit. Maybe even 1 or 2 running backs from those teams. And if it worked out where we had a little bit of bring back action, that's even better. I was kind of hoping Myers would have hung around because I was going to take him as he would have paired with Geno. Probably go Diggs here. Let's go ahead and go Diggs. He looked pretty good in a little bit of in the clips that they showed from him at Patriots camp. If he's not too much in Vrabel's doghouse for the boat incident, I think he could be set up for a pretty good year in New England. We'll see. We are in the 10th round. This is a 22nd super flex. Let's see what everybody else is doing down here on the board. We're in that range. And see, this is what I was talking about. Like, myself, I just really like my teams better when I start like this. I get 2 position players. It's anywhere from 6 on back. when you get two positions, assuming Burrow goes at 5, get your two position players because they're all studs. You're drafting the Genties and Chases and CMCs and Gibbs of the world. And then see if the board works out for you where you can get quarterbacks that are still starters like May, CJ, and Gino. And your teams turn out pretty good, I think. We'll go look at it again in a minute and see exactly why. I'm going to go ahead and just take Higgins, pairs with CJ. Because then you got your 3 quarterbacks, so you're good. You don't have to draft Russell Wilson in the 10th round, who probably isn't going to play the whole year. You don't have to draft Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wasn't good last year when he played. Why would he necessarily be good this year if he does go to Pittsburgh? You don't have to draft Daniel Jones in the 11th round. I would rather do it the way that I did and be able to still take players like a rookie receiver who could actually have a lot of good value for your team as the season goes on in Higgins, you know. Or if you need a tight end, there's some really good tight ends in this range. If you're into Scatterbo. I'm not really a Scatterbo guy. But if you're into him, Matthew Golden, he's there. I'd rather take position players who I know have a chance at helping my team all the way throughout the season, as long as I got my 3 starting quarterbacks like I do with this team. There's still going to be plenty of receivers to go around, so we're probably, unless he goes, which we're hoping he doesn't, then we'll go Ray Davis. He hung in there for us, so we can grab him. I could throw Jack Besh on there, but I don't know. I can't draft Besh. I haven't yet. I don't know if I will. If anything, really late in the draft, if we haven't already took too many receivers, maybe we can throw old Spike Week Trey Tucker on the team. Let's see what we got. We know our quarterbacks, May, Stroud, Gino. 4 running backs now, Kenneth Walker, Judkins, Aaron Jones, and Ray Davis. 6, 7, 8, 9 bye week, so they all none of them overlap. That's really good with our running backs. We started Chase and Puka, took a break at receiver. Now we just came back with Diggs and Higgins because they were stacks. And we got Mr. Hawkinson holding down our tight end room right now. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, what's up, Candy Man? Glad you stopped by. Looking forward to drafting with you tomorrow, man. I know we got a lot of the same stomping grounds and stuff. Another Texas boy. Let's get in here and make this pick real quick. We're about to run out of time. We're just going to throw Eckler up there real quick because we need a running back. And I like him. And his bye week also kind of aligns with not having an overlapping bye week with the other guys. And the clock almost snuck up on us, but we knew we wanted to go running back, so we just flipped it over to running back, picked whichever one looked the best out of that range. How are you drafting the super flex? I've been talking about as we go through this one. I did my pug first. I had 1 pug left. And I've been talking about as we work through this that I've been liking my super flex teams the best whenever I'm 6 back. If I'm into 1 through 4, then I take the elite. But whenever I'm 6 back, I've really been liking my teams when I just take my favorite 2 position players, and then oftentimes you can get it to work out if you hit quarterback with the next 3 and get you 3 starters that you feel pretty good about: Drake, May, CJ, and Gino. and then get back and then get into, like in this case, since I went receiver, we just kind of made sure we started catching up at running back. Grabbed Hawkinson because I'm high on him. Grabbed Diggs and Higgins because they stacked. Then we got back and got us a couple more running backs to make sure we're catching up there. I've been liking my teams built like this a whole lot. I'm trying to stay away from 11th round Jones and 10th round Russ. I mean, it could work if they have really good seasons and if they start most of the year or they're playing at the right time, but I don't know. Interested to hear how you've been building your super flex. Let's see. We got to do something here. What running backs are still out there? Daddle. Go grab me another tight end. Goddard and Hawkinson. I like that tight end room. If we have to, we can stay at 2. Probably can fit a third one in though later. We'll see how it works out. There was a running back I almost took, but I think I can get him to come around to the next one. So we held on for a little bit. If you guys are stopping in and you didn't hit the like, appreciate it if you hit the like for me. It really does help us out a lot. We're going to try to finish this super flex off. We're in the 15th round. I like the way the team's going. I really do. Let's look at it real quick. 3-5-4-2. We got the 3 quarterbacks. Walker, Judkins, Aaron Jones, Ray Davis, and Eckler. Started with Jamar and Puka. Diggs and Higgins. Hawkinson and Goddard. I have 4 receivers with the 2 studs. I'll draft a couple more at some point. But there's really not necessarily a need to rush it. If he holds, we like Shipley here a lot. If not, we can maybe go with Wright. Hollywood's been falling a lot lately. I think it's just all the Rice love that's out there. But I don't think Shipley comes back. And I probably want the running back more than the receiver just because Shipley's one of my favorite clicks on the board. So we'll take him. We're liking it though. It's going pretty well. Feel like it might be a keeper. Let's see what we want to do. When it gets back to us, I think now we do want to maybe go grab another receiver. Probably too early for a third tight end, but we would make an exception if Hunter Henry's there. Since Drake is our quarterback, or one of our quarterbacks. I think that's what we'll do. We'll go Henry if Henry's there. I like Giddens a lot too. We got some decent options here. Henry's a little past ADP though, so we're going to grab him. Our tight end room will be done. That's a nice tight end room. Hawkinson, Goddard, and Henry. We can definitely get some good usable scores most weeks out of that trio. got 4 picks left, so we still got picks to work with. Cousins is still hanging around, but I don't think I want to add another quarterback. Maybe if he sticks around, though, we might. I'll put him on there to keep an eye on him. I think there's a realistic possibility Kirk Cousins ends up the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, because he does not, or meaning Rodgers, does not seem in any hurry to play football. Almost seems like he doesn't want to play football. I like Goddard, and it doesn't hurt to get him with 2 others since he's often injured. Yeah. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier, is that's part of why I kind of been liking this build where you get the 2 position players and then the 3 QBs you can count on. They don't have overlapping bye weeks, so I'm okay with, even in a super flex, a Drake May, CJ, and Geno room. Because I feel like I could always get, on a bad week, you can have a running back or a quarter or a wide receiver hit your super flex spot. We got some running backs we like. This guy has 6 receivers. He probably doesn't go receiver here, meaning we should be able to get Pat Bryant, who we like a lot also. He'll be a nice little 5th receiver. This is the type of team that I also wouldn't mind throwing Keenan Allen on, just because Keenan's another guy that doesn't seem in a hurry to play football, but if he does play football, he's still good at football. Last year he was in a crowded room, and in my opinion, probably had the best season of the 3. I mean, I guess G.J. Moore had a pretty good year too, but Keenan definitely held his own. Had multiple 20-point or more weeks on DraftKings, where I was playing at pretty much most of my volume last year. One of his weeks was I think like a 32-pointer, if I remember correctly. I'm getting old. I might not be remembering that correctly. It is always a distinct possibility. We're going to finish this one up though. Get to bed. We got a long day tomorrow. What am I saying? I got 3 kids that still live at home. All of my summer days are long days. There is no not long days at this point. Except for the end of July. There's going to be like a week at the end of July, right at the beginning of the August, right in the heart of best ball season. All the good juicy camp stuff going on. Preseason about to start up. And the wife and my 3 daughters are going on a girls trip. And JT is going to have the house to himself. And I'm 44 years old. We are not going to be doing any wild partying. We are going to be drafting lots of best ball. Probably streaming a little extra too. Let's see, what receiver do we want? We want a receiver here. Let's get Wicks. He's a good little spike week guy. I still like Wicks. I've still been drafting him. If it gets to the point... he might actually win already. No, he's still there. The one quarterback who I will make an exception for in the 20th round sometimes, even on a 3 QB team like this, where my initial thoughts are I want to just hold it at 3 QBs. If I get to a point that I don't like any of the running backs, any of the receivers, so I'm not really into 4 quarterback builds. I like Taj Brooks, though. I liked him as a prospect. We could potentially throw him on there. I'm okay taking shots on like Ollie Gordon or even Kendre Miller. Maybe Woody Marks. I think Woody Marks could have the backup job for the Texans for sure, because they don't seem to really like Pierce that much. De'Ami Brown's still hanging around though too. We could go with him. Never know what can happen, and we have CJ, so let's throw Woody on there first. Always the fan of the team correlation. That'll just about finish it up. We got one more pick. I don't know why Mariota is free in drafts. Again, my memory is not the best, but I feel like he got in on a game last year and looked pretty good. And we'll take Zach Wilson's and we'll take Spencer Rattler's. But Washington has some weapons, and Jaden Daniels' play style is definitely his play style paired with his body type is definitely. Is there a world where he could not get hurt? He could get hurt. I mean, he runs around a lot. He's not that big of a guy. He's got really massive dudes taking hits on him. Mariota has a little bit of running in his game. Actually, a good amount of running at his game. He's not really that good at passing the ball. I don't know. I feel like he shouldn't be available in the 20th round of every draft. If you are into drafting backup quarterbacks, I think you could do a lot worse. But I think for this team, we're going to finish it with 3-7-7-3. As long as Tucker's there, we're going to go ahead and add him on as a little. Maybe we get lucky and he hits us for a spike week at the right time with Geno. That would be pretty nice. We think he would help this team over the chance that Mariota gets in there for a game or two because Daniels is out. We'll take the receiver to go with our quarterback. Let's finish it off. Drake May, CJ Stroud, Geno Smith is our QB room. We finished with 7 running backs: Walker, Judkins, Jones, Davis, Eckler, Shipley, Woody Marks, Jamar Chase, Puka, Diggs, Higgins, Pat Bryant, Dontavian Wicks, and we threw Tucker on with our last pick. Tight end room of Hockenson, Goddard, and Hunter Henry. Feeling pretty good about the team overall. I like it. Just made the thumb for tomorrow and sending you the thing on X now. All right, sounds good, my man. I'll definitely be ready for it. I'll hop on a few minutes early so we can maybe talk out the plan. Whatever you want to draft, I'm cool with, of course. Just be fun to hook up. Anyways, I'm going to call it a night, guys. Happy drafting tomorrow during the day. If you're still watching this or you catch it on replay, we were just talking about it. We'll be on Fantasy Football Garage tomorrow at 8:30, 8 Central. I got it written down, my man. I'm not going to be late. I got it written down. I just don't remember it off the top of my head. I think it's 8:30, though. Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.